In 1836, Geneva was chosen as the administrative center for the newly established Kane County government. The responsibility of the county seat created the need for a courthouse and county offices. The community social center formed near the Fox River in the log cabin home of first permanent settlers James and Charity Harrington. Over time, it served as a tavern, post office, polling place, and general store. Through his political connections, Harrington managed to get his burgeoning little settlement chosen as the county seat, and his log house served all county activities. In 1837, county offices moved to a frame log courthouse located on a public square fronting State Street. By 1844, the county's growth led to the construction of a new courthouse made of quarry stone and built on the site of the present-day City Hall between James and State Streets. By 1856, Kane County again needed larger facilities, and a new courthouse was constructed and designed by John M. Van Oedsel, one of Chicago's leading architects. The ornate three-story Limehouse building was placed on 3rd Street at the present-day courthouse site. On the night of March 13, 1890, the courthouse burned to the ground. All that remained was the building's frame. Fortunately, the records were salvaged and stored in the Patent House on 2nd Street until a new courthouse could be erected. Soon after the fire, Kane County commissioned architects W.J. Edbrook and Frank P. Burnham to design the courthouse and jail. The red brick, limestone, and iron frame courthouse was completed on September 30, 1892. The massive 4-story courthouse, which still stands today, is regarded as one of the finest in Illinois. Inside the 46-foot high rotunda are murals of scenes from 11 of the 16 townships in Kane County. The murals were painted by Aurora native Albert Hochschlag in 1909. After serving Kane County for over 75 years, the fate of the iconic courthouse building was in question. A proposal was submitted by the Public Building Commission to demolish the historic building and replace it with the new Kane County Courthouse complex because the building was no longer large enough to accommodate the judicial proceedings. Fortunately, in 1969, the Board of Supervisors voted to save the Kane County Courthouse. Future proposals to construct a new judiciary building continued through the 1970s. By 1972, county building expansion was made possible by purchasing and adapting the Sacred Heart Seminary located on Route 31 in Geneva. All county administrative offices moved to the site, which became the Kane County Government Center. In 1975, the Public Building Commission refurbished the courthouse and converted the vacant offices into space for the circuit clerk and court to resolve further spatial issues. However, the county seat continued to outgrow these two facilities, and in 1989, the county board acquired a 145-acre site on Route 38 in St. Charles to prepare for its future growth. By 1993, the new Kane County Judicial Center building was completed and thus resolved years of spatial constraints. Today, the 1892 courthouse remains an iconic structure in Geneva and still holds offices and cases as part of the 16th Judicial Circuit.
This is my favorite chair in the Geneva History Museum's collection because it represents the work of William Mullis. I learned more about the world-renowned artist who chose Geneva as his home and the breadth of his work while helping to research some of his pieces in the museum's collection. We knew that Mullis had painted the murals in various rooms of The Little Traveler, and that he designed and authored many of the Little Traveler almanacs that helped create the brand image of the store. But what we found through our research was that Mullis's mural work was commissioned by businesses both nationally and internationally. His artwork was used for publicity and decor by elite organizations. The rich and famous purchased Mullis's artwork for their private collections, and that he had over 20 one-man shows all over the world. Because of all of our research, the Geneva History Museum nominated William Mullis as a candidate for the Fox Valley Arts Hall of Fame, where he was inducted in 2018.
This is my favorite chair from the Geneva History Museum collection. This chair is from the 1920s and was a favorite of May Bennett. She was the wife of Fred Bennett, the owner of Bennett Mill here in Geneva. I love rocking chairs and have at least 3 family chairs of my own. I like this oak rocking chair because it has special little details. The finger hole in the back with the details that match the front edge of the seat. I also believe this is a sewing rocker because it has no armrests, which made it easier to sew while rocking.
This is my favorite chair in the Geneva History Museum collection. And actually, there are 2 of them that were part of the Walter Nelson's confectionery over on State Street. But we kids would go to the Saturday afternoon movies. And when we got through that, a real treat was to take a nickel or whatever we had left to go over to Nelson to get a root beer. And we walk in, and it was always terrifying for us because Walter would come up behind the counter and say, "What do you kids want?" And it just terrified us. And we'd put our little money up there and we'd say, "Just a root beer." And so he'd give us a root beer. And so for years, I always had that image of him as being this really rough guy. Except I think I was probably about 17, 18. I worked for the city during the summer, and my job was to take the old Ford tractor with the sidebar cutter on it and cut the tall weeds in some of these lots around town where people had not maintained them as they were supposed to. And this one day, it was a hot summer day, and Walter's house happened to be the lot right next to this empty lot I was mowing. And I'd been out there mowing a couple strips, and like I say, it was very hot. And I saw Walter come out the back door. And I thought, oh my God, what did I do now? And he kept walking up to me, so I shut the engine off. And I thought, oh my gosh, what he's gonna really rip me a new one here now. And he said, "Would you like a lemonade?" That changed my opinion of him forever after that.
This is my favorite chair in the Geneva History Museum's collection. It is a shoe shine chair and stool from the Bobette Barber Shop that was originally owned by Harwood Beasley. The shop was on South 3rd Street behind State Street Jewelers in a building that is no longer there. In the early days, barber shops were tonsorial parlors where men could get a haircut, shave, shoe shine, and their hats cleaned. I love the lines and height of this chair. The foot placements have engraved spots for the heels of the shoes, and the drawer that would hold all of the tools pulls out. The museum has a variety of objects in the collection relating to the services of barbershops, including blades with cases, a shoe shine brush, brass shaving bin. It was said that men would have their own personalized shaving mugs on a shelf that would be taken down and used when they came in. Here is the mug for Geneva business owner Fred Hilquist.
This is one of my favorite chairs in the Geneva History Museum's collection. It is a chair from the lobby of Hotel Geneva on West State Street. Most likely made of pine, the cane seat is in perfect condition. It is fun to think of all the people that may have sat in this chair. In May of 2001, Hollywood came to Geneva and the hotel was used as the backdrop for scenes in the movie Road to Perdition, starring Tom Hanks, Jude Law, and Paul Newman. This chair didn't make it in the movie since it has been in the museum's collection since 1969.
This yellow tubular steel chair created by the Howell Foundry Company is my favorite chair in the museum's collection. I chose this piece because I have a little history working with it. In 2016, I was part of a curatorial class at Northern Illinois University that put on the exhibition Beyond Gatsby, Common Luxury in American Art Deco. We borrowed objects from various local museums, including the Geneva History Museum. This chair was one of the pieces we displayed in our exhibition, as the Howell Company was a very prominent manufacturer of furniture in the 1930s, the height of Art Deco popularity in America. Many of their pieces created during this era reflect the Deco aesthetic of a modern streamlined design which combined function with form while utilizing affordable materials. On the chair I chose, we can see this in the tubular chrome-plated steel pieces that support the bright yellow cushioned seat.
In 1912, the citizens of Kane County voted to honor the county residents who had served in the Civil War, the Mexican and Spanish-American Wars. $25,000 was appropriated for the project. That same year, Carl Heber was selected as the sculptor. Mr. Heber had grown up in Kane County, studied at the École des Beaux-Arts School in Paris, France, and at the Art Institute of Chicago. He worked for the noted sculptor Laredo Taft and displayed his artwork at the 1893 World's Columbian Exhibition. The Soldiers and Sailors Monument stands in front of the Kane County Courthouse and was unveiled in 1915. The statue at the top is made out of bronze. It depicts a standing soldier who is flanked by a kneeling rifleman on his left and a kneeling drummer on his right. Two eagles with their wings spread flank the sides of the base. The 24 plaques on the base are bronze and bear more than 5,000 names of Kane County veterans who were honorably discharged from service. The Soldiers and Sailors Monument continues to remind us of the men and women who served our country many years ago.
Hi, I'm Corinne Pirog, and I am about 4 months in, the newly elected Kane County Board Chairman. I'm very excited to be talking to you today to bring together the history and politics of Kane County, and they both are certainly enriched with one another. Soon, on June 4th, we are going to be celebrating the 185th anniversary of Kane County. That is a spectacular celebration that we're going to be having, although if we're still in COVID, but the thought of that we've been here for 185 years is spectacular. It started out, as many of the Western expansions started out, as Indian territory. Army Trail Road was used as a thoroughfare for the marching army to come through to, unfortunately, dominate some of our Indian residents who then left. But their history and their heritage and their culture stays very strongly here in Kane County with the names. The Fox River is named after an Indian tribe. In the Black Hawk Forest that we have, all of that enriches the communities of our county, as did our settlers, as our European settlers. Batavia is the windmill. We've had glass factories here, furniture making factories. At one time, ice was harvested from the Fox River. We have historic homes here, which date back from 1800s. I used to own one of those, proudly owned, and did a little bit of restoration on it as well. And we also have new construction, celebrating the growth of our new families. But the one thing that we have maintained here throughout the 185 years is the agricultural heritage of our county. Kane County has some of the richest farmland in the United States. And we have one of the only farmland preservation initiatives. We want to ensure that growing generations can see what a working farm is like, appreciate the local food that our farmers bring to our farmers market. Agriculture and urban areas like Aurora and Elgin work very well here in the county, and that is something very unique. And I am honored to serve in that seat. I sit here now as the second woman elected to the seat, but proudly the very first Democrat. So I too have made history, and like Kane County, represent a changing dynamic, a changing population. My dream for the county is to, as I mentioned before, make sure that our agricultural base remains strong, remains protected, remains a vital part of our economic community, but also make sure that our housing stock is fair, that we have affordable housing for our seniors, for our young families, because we want our young families to continue to feel that they can afford to come to Kane County to live, that they can take their children, as I had the opportunity to do, to participate in the wonderful schools that we have here in the county and attend some of our great colleges and universities that are here. I want to make sure that our transportation is adequate, that we can take a bike if we wanted to get to work, or just for pleasure, or if we wanted to take a bus and not have to worry about our car, or transfer over to our electric car vehicles. And these are all hopes and dreams for the future. But as far as politics go, this is no longer a time for political duress. We want to make sure that we've learned one thing from the pandemic, and I want to make sure that that is one thing that we always will remember, is that we are a community of people. And as people and as a collected group of families, we have diverse opinions. But those opinions should be respected and should be honored, and we have to work together. So there is no Democrat, there is no Republican. We are residents of Kane County. And together, moving forward in the next 185 years, we are going to make sure that the county represents the values and the attitudes of our diverse communities, whether white, black, Hispanic, Asian, or Polish like my own heritage. We have one voice, and together with one voice, we will lead Kane County into its next 185 years. Thank you.
from the jail over to here for the abuse and neglect courtroom. They get locked up in these cells. Or if somebody goes crazy in a courtroom here, we have to take them into custody. You have to hold them somewhere. If the judge orders you to contempt, usually it's 30 to 95 days in jail.
And they stay here?
No, they would be taken